All right.
And that's kind of shitty here.
No, it's fine. Yeah, apparently doors like armor, and it's like the captain. And the guard explains the situation. He nods and he says, "We'll go take a look." And you hear from inside the keep, like after he trundles back, you hear like some knocking on doors and some shouting and clearly some people getting tossed out of bunks and whatever. Probably after like 15 kind of awkward moments, silently sitting there with this dwarven guardsman, the sergeant guy comes back and he says, "Appears everybody's no worse for the wear. Lots of drunkards though. Apparently there was some party last night."
Yeah, that's what I'm sorry for the inconvenience. I just, if you could also send my apologies to the guard that was on here last night. I think I might have made a little bit of an ass of myself.
He probably chuckles and he's like, "Well, we certainly will."
If he asks who I was, tell him that I'm Thorman something or other. I gave a fake name for some stupid ass reason. My name's Hannibal. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure. And they like nod and they're like, it's mighty polite of you. And
I just was a little bit worried. He really drunk. He fell. I remember him falling, then me laughing for some stupid reason, and then him just not getting up.
I think that the captain makes a joke. He's like, "Aye, it'd take a lot more than the ale in this entire city to kill a dwarf."
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, I just wanted to check to make sure that he was all right.
Yep, they nod, and they assure you that everyone is okay that is currently inside of the keep.
All right, thank you very much. I hope you people have a wonderful day.
Yep, they dismiss you. Do you do anything else, or was that your intention with the...
Yeah, that was my intention, was just to basically just clear the air about why somebody so distinctive as me would use a fake name.
Right, yeah. You're trying to cover the tracks of like, yeah, I was really drunk,
I remember us going in there. I don't remember what we did or why we were there.
Right.
Basically.
Yep. Sounds good. So, Arkady, back to you real quick. So, you're going to meet with some of the nobles. I think that distinctly, the first thing that you realize is no one is aware that Kingsley is gone. I think that that's pretty easy to find out. Like, if you're just talking with some people, like up in the noble rings, maybe some like minor lords, and like, hey, I'm Petrov or whatever, blah blah blah. And a lot of them, like maybe your first clue is one of them probably says, "Oh, are you on your way to see the Count?" And you're like, but he, he's not here. But clearly, no one is really aware, even in the noble circles, that he has actually left the city. So that's the first point of interest.
Right. Okay.
Do you cast darkness on yourself?
No, I messed up. Sorry.
There's a black sphere of that light does not penetrate now, moving through the city.
Well, if we're gonna do that, then let's do this.
Right, exactly. There you go. Cool. Yeah. So I think that's the first thing you pick up on, is that it appears that, just kind of as I described it back in what was the place? Kemperbad. Back as I described it in Kemperbad, like it appeared he was traveling kind of not like nondescript. He was attempting to be a little bit stealthy about what he was doing, but a noble with 20 plus guards doesn't just show up out of nowhere, and not be somebody important or cause talk. But how that may have occurred may be interesting to note.
Yeah, a little weird that he was actually able to leave the city for that long and no one's noticing.
Right. So, like, perhaps if that's a path you wanted to take, you could be like, oh, when does he hold court or whatever, to be like, what, who's taking his responsibilities and acting like him, and or he doesn't just hole up in his keep all the time, right? Like, he's had to have been gone for at least almost 2 weeks to travel by foot, right? So, or even by horseback. But yeah, so that's an interesting point that you find out. But you could totally meet with. Let's come up with a name here real quick. So let's say.
Chris the dwarf. Carl. Grungir.
No. I wish I had this.
Baron von Heisenberg.
No, there's no barons. Also, we're a little out of the. Wow, these are all very specific and pretty dumb.
Dickweed.
Let's
Cut
just
muncher.
say. Well, see, the problem is usually I'm really good at just coming up with names on the fly, but.
Khal Drogo.
I won't be too bothered if you want to just fill in the blanks later.
I think here's a good one. Lord Clawridge. So Lord Clawridge is he's probably he's kind of in the middling noble range. He's not quite a high noble, where he's like, probably directly like vying for power per se. But he's definitely one of those ones that stands to gain if certain individuals like go up, and he also controls maybe a small portion of some of the minor nobles. So he's in kind of like, to be honest, like a perfect position. Like he's pretty happy with his lot, right? Where he's not important enough that people blame him for stuff, but he's important enough that people still respect him.
That's the sweet spot.
He's in the sweet spot. So knowing that that's the sweet spot, that that's a person that can most likely like get things done, because he doesn't have the renown that he can't move around and make power plays, but he has the power to do it. So Lord Clawridge, I think, probably like agrees to meet with you, and like during like maybe like lunch or something, and I think that you're actually invited to his place, and he's a man. He's probably in his early 40s, kind of graying a little bit. He's got a full beard, and I think that the most notable thing when you arrive at his place is that there is the sound of children coming from inside, and I think that as you walk in, there are maybe like 3 or 4 younger kids, maybe like 9 through 12, and they appear to be like out in the back lawn, like practicing sword fighting, because that's what kids do in this day and age, right? And generally the home has a very like kind of country plantation feel, where it's, it seems very, very nice and very hospitable, and it's clearly like a lived-in place. It's not necessarily a like spick and span clean, servants are dusting, stuff that doesn't need to be dusted, etc., etc. It has a very homey feel inside. But you are greeted by a servant, and he ushers you in, and he says, he also announces you as you enter as, Ambassador Arkady Petrov from Kislev. Right, exactly. So I think that Lord Clawridge comes down, and he shakes, like he extends his hand to like shake your hand. He's like, Ambassador, it is good to see you. It is quite unusual for a representative from Kislev to be here at this time.
Yes, is unusual time to be sure. Dropping out of character for a moment, I'm trying to remember how much is general information available on our actual mission. Like, we're on our way to check out a possible Skaven plague.
Right. So there have been reports.
Skaven outbreak.
There's been reports of Skaven raids essentially going on more commonly than normal. And also there's been reports of strange illnesses or strange magics going on, that the Emperor just hasn't had time to send people to look into. Just not enough people, right?
And people. So this is information that well-connected people could easily know.
Yeah, I think that if the Emperor knows it, then you may get a different story depending on who you talk to. Like, this Lord Claridge lives a lot closer to where this would be happening, so perhaps he has information that the Emperor might not, or the Emperor might have had a spy that relayed more information. It's kind of like a... It's fair to know that people probably know about it if they're connected enough. This guy definitely probably would if it's a connected enough event for the Emperor to know about it, yeah.
So I have no concern about holding anything back, and Arkady will cheerfully explain that it is definitely an unusual circumstance, but he's currently traveling with Lady Morella Fairheart and a number of retainers.
Sure, yeah, that's a good word
to go look into the Skaven business, given that it is obviously somewhat concerning, but not the most urgent thing possible. And so, given the potential danger, Lady Fairheart immediately leapt on the opportunity to ease everyone's minds.
Yeah, and I think that, like, if that's a line that you say, like, potential, like, to ease everyone's minds, I think that this guy, you can tell just by talking to him, he's sharp, right? He knows his job. And I think that, like, maybe he's sipping on, like, maybe it's wine, actually. Maybe he does have some wine, and maybe you have a glass as well, and he's sipping on it, and he goes, yes, and probably to position herself quite well in the eyes of the people, no?
Well, undoubtedly this is a possibility, but I have been privileged to spend time with her lately, and I mean it's in the most positive way, but I am not certain she has any sense of guile.
Yeah, so I think that, like, I think at that he probably says, oh, and perhaps you can provide this to her, ambassador from Kislev.
Excellent joke. No, for what possible reason would I want to make your beloved lady and impressive, what, seriously, biceps like watermelons? But no, why would I want to make her any less than what she is already? No, she is fine imperial specimen. And even if she is not to be empress one day, then you cannot disagree. This is impressive, heroic instinct on her part. I am, if nothing else, fascinated to watch her in action. She has deep concern for commoners.
Yeah, I think he looks at you, and again, he's not smug in it, but like he's kind of like just picking up what he picks up, and I think he says, I did not take you for a storyteller, someone to record the writings and adventures of
I have an assistant for that. No, I am finding it interesting, if only because if she is to be empress someday, then this will be a fascinating, road to the top. Obviously, there are many others who may be considered by the council. I have also met with, what's his name? Man who looks somewhat like Joffrey.
Right, yeah. So like you're discussing like competition.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And his name, I wrote it down here. Jeez, why am I so bad at remembering these things? His name is...
You have it on the front page.
Anthony Cahill is his name. So he says, yes, the young Lord Cahill. Yes. He is also similarly endeared to the people, from what I hear. It has been some time since he has visited Nuln, though. Perhaps if Morella were to, make an appearance, the people would see her for who she is. Although
I have reason to believe that she is intending to do exactly this thing, although I am not certain what best opportunity will be. Obviously, Skaven is pressing threat. We are loath to delay too long in any one place.
I quite understand, yes, indeed. Well, I think that gaining an audience with the Count would be no hard feat for someone of her recognition, being a daughter of one herself.
I would have thought so, but he is apparently surprisingly busy. I have had considerable trouble trying to find any time with him in the next few days. Has there been some business you are aware of that is taking up his time?
He kind of like looks, and you can tell like he's doing that evaluating stare at like, how much, I know things, but they may not be things that you know, and if I give you certain things, maybe you'll know more than you should. But I think he says, it is not my place to speak of it, per se, but there have been interesting rumors writing about. And he kind of leaves that hanging in the air for a moment to see how you respond.
So you are aware that it is business taking up his time. That is reassuring. You would not want to think that for some reason we had given him offense.
And I think he holds up a hand and says, "Oh, certainly not. Lord Applebottom, he very much loves his people. But
I really
can
feel
say,
like you have to make some kind of saving throw to not snicker whenever they say that name.
Yeah, I know.
Applebottom jeans.
Yeah, exactly. I was actually listening to that song when I made up the name, just so you guys know. And actually, it's not Applebottom. I keep saying it wrong. It's actually Appleton.
Yes.
So my apologies.
That makes more sense.
It's actually Appleton. I don't know why I keep saying Applebottom. Whatever. It's actually Appleton. But yeah, he says, Count Appleton is very endeared to his people, and it is possible that his business does indeed occupy his time, but I'm sure that if not that, perhaps Lady Appleton? Would that be something that this Miss Fairheart is interested in an audience?
I am quite certain that Lady Fairheart would be only too happy to meet with Miss Appleton if this was a possibility.
He nods, and he says, yes. Well, I'm sure that you could request an audience, but what type of event do you think we should have? Clearly, you are not speaking of just a quick and brief audience, but were we thinking something more subtle, as maybe rumors begin that she was seen meeting with the Count or Countess or Count's wife and then leaving and departing? Or something more public? You are the advisor to her.
No, you misunderstand. I am, of course, only great friend of Empire, but I am ambassador to Kislev. I do not advise your empress or future potential empress.
I think he just smiles and nods and takes a sip of his wine as you say that.
So I think what Arcadi is probably angling for is something more of the gala that would allow a larger number of whoever the minor nobles are in town to meet with Morella.
Sure.
So like a gathering, like a ball.
Yeah, so...
I don't remember. Can she dance?
Yes, she can.
If you remember correctly, she were in one with Tabline.
She is very good at dancing.
I wasn't there for that.
Correct.
She's quite the dancer, young sir.
Jericho was.
Her second name is Crystal.
Yeah. Cool. So he probably looks and he says, well, I think it would be hard for us to perhaps set up such a feat, with the Count being busy and all. But perhaps, consider this. Perhaps the Lady Appleton holds a gathering of maybe notable women in the city. Perhaps something that Morella could attend and meet and he leans in and kind of looks around, does the whole look side to side, and he goes, "We all know that the women are the real power in the political scheming here. I myself could not do anything without my wife's approval."
That is Arkady is trying to phrase this as much so that it sounds like a joke as possible. He says, that is unfortunate for her.
Right, yeah, and I think he lets out a loud laugh at that. He's like, "Ha ha ha! Yes, it is unfortunate for her. to be
He's
riddled with such plague as myself.
internal monologue for Arkady is that the Ice Queen would chew this man apart. But,
Right, yeah. Sure.
Sorry. Yes, this is reasonable. I will see to possible schedule. I was not aware that the Appleton was available. I thought that she was also busy. But no, this is excellent idea. I will ensure that Lady Claridge is invited to this. Yes.
Yeah, I think he nods and he says, "Oh, of course, and my daughter as well will most definitely attend." And
How many children did you say were sword fighting in the backyard?
So there were 4 kids in the backyard, all between the ages of 9 and 12. You met the servant, you saw the servant, and then you saw him. You guys are like a sitting room now. You didn't see his wife. And there was one girl outside that was probably 10, and then there were 3 other boys outside.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that he also says, where is my train of thought going here? Oh yeah, he says, well, it appears, and I understand you have only been in town a few days, but it appears that court on Monday was held actually by the Lady Appleton, and not the Count himself, as he was preoccupied with his current business. So she appears to be at least available. I'm sure that my wife could arrange something. She is much beloved in that circle of friends.
Yes, we would be only too obliged.
He nods and he says, "Very well. I will set it up on my end. Say, perhaps tomorrow evening?"
I am certain that Lady Farrah would be only too happy to make herself available.
Ah, a proper answer. Now, come, let us eat. And he kind of
Even if I have to drive her.
Right, yeah. It should be noted you've essentially signed Marilla up for book club.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
So just so
That's
you know,
what you think.
just so you know, you've essentially signed her up for book club.
I don't know if it's gonna be terrible or fantastic, but either way, it's gonna be amazing.
I got a feeling.
Yeah.
He's got a feeling
Yeah.
Yeah.
that tonight's gonna be shit.
So I think that he like rings a bell that's like sitting on the table, and a different servant, different from the one that like announced you at the door, comes in, and it's a very robust woman, and she trundles up, and the food smells delicious, and she sets it all on the table, and you begin having a nice, a little bit heavier, probably. Well, I mean, you're a Kislev, so probably not. It's probably actually a little bit of home, a little bit heavy on the lunch, much heavier foods and breads and maybe like a potato leek soup or something like that. But it does give you that kind of like comfort food, homey feel. It's clearly it's not garnished or like designed on like super nice china. It's like simple and comfortable.
Pure like borscht.
Right, exactly. Yeah, cool. So so now that Marilla's been signed up for book club, that's great. And so we jump back to, I think, Marilla and Farron. You guys are exploring the city. So, Marilla, where did you intend to go?
Intend?
Yeah.
There was no intention of where to go. It was just to explore.
Sure. Yeah, but did you have a destination in mind, or like, because there's some landmarks that you could go check out. Like, you could totally go out and check out the like statues, or like if you wanted to go on like the tourist sightseeing tour, right? Like, go check out the statues and learn the history of Nuln, etc., etc. Even though you probably know it because you're a noble's daughter.
Yeah.
But there's also
She's more into the idea of like exploring for herself. She didn't have a plan in mind. She just go, see what happens, type of thing. So
fair
she would
instance-
probably search in the district where the cup and sword was, like, because she would go somewhere familiar first, and then
Sure.
start, navigating through the unknown.
So, Farron, since this is your first date, where do you, how do you proceed, along this journey?
I'm obviously trying to take her to
Yeah. Mhm.
what little romantic spots I know at this point.
Right,
You know,
yeah.
just trying to...
Time things that you end up on the bridge at sunset.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
This
or,
is-
like, out on top of the statue, right? Yeah.
Mm.
So, like it sets over the lake. I got you. I'm with you.
Oh,
Hold on, I can just imagine the Titanic scene, but I'm the one holding up Farron.
Right before you drop it, yes.
Yeah, that's it. That's 100% it. You're standing. It's like if you've ever been in the top of the Statue of Liberty. You're standing, and like you're just like holding him from behind. He's got his arms out, and you scream from behind him, "I'm Queen of the World," and then we fade to black. But we got 30 more minutes, so let's figure out what you guys are doing before then. So you guys go to the Cup and Sword District, which is kind of it's the local district,
Rougher.
right? That's how I described it. It's not the rough district of like the rough area of town. It's the local area of town. So you guys stand out a little bit. If you go down that street, there are multiple people like trying to clean up from the event last night. Neither of you actually interacted with the owner of the Cup and Sword, so you don't know what he looks like. But like you see a guy out there that is, Jesus, quote unquote, every bartender ever in Warhammer, and he's like directing people like to pick up tables and do things. Very apparently in charge. But yeah, so I think that as you travel like through the local streets, a lot of people. It's a Wednesday. Everybody is okay. Everybody is like kind of out going to their jobs and kind of proceeding, and yeah, there's nothing too interesting in this area of town. But as you kind of progress, you probably at one point go across a bridge that goes to the fort, and Marilla, it is a masterwork of defensive capabilities. Specifically on top, you see that there is a battery of ballistas that could easily take out a ship on the water, and some of them look large enough and powerful enough that to even fire like up to the entrance of the city. And you can tell, just like based on your like general war tactics that you have, you can tell that like this place is nigh unassailable, because they actually have the capability to destroy the bridges on either side and literally just never be able to be assaulted. But there is like a pedestrian path that goes through there because not everybody uses like the main bridge. But the guardsmen over here are all very very professional. But there are quite a lot of them. This appears to function not only as the main defensive fortification, but also the primary barracks for all the town guardmen. I think I gave it a name last time, too. Let me see. It might actually be on this locations tab. Let's see here. Known. It is called the Iron Tower. That's what it's called. The Iron Tower is its name.
Dun, dun, dun.
But then, in fact, like just simply like its name says, the center of it, like this larger circle here, is a pure iron tower. And stuff isn't typically made of metal, like structures typically aren't made of metal in this world. It's mostly stone, right? Stone or wood or whatever. But it's called the Iron Tower because it is literally an iron tower, which is kind of unheard of anywhere. But it was built by the dwarves, and they're awesome craftsmen, and they can do that kind of stuff. So it's kind of like a cool, like notable feature of the city itself. So as you guys travel, you travel over to across the bridge, and you make your loop around, and you go through some of the marketplaces. And there's a lot of people selling wares. There's quite a few people selling like farming equipment. You see quite a few farmers come from like outlying villages and stuff that are there. And there's quite a few people like selling lots of money, exchanging hands. You guys grab some nice skewers for lunch. Some nice wooden skewers of insert random meat here. Probably cow, but
Right.
that might be expensive, so it might be rat.
She would probably make small talk with Farron in the meantime.
Okay. Right. Yeah. So like what? Like what kind of small talk?
She probably like as like we're getting these kebabs or whatever, and like we're walking down. I'm like, Farron, where did you grow up? Where are you from?
I was born in Kislev, would you have it? No, I grew up around there. No, after my...
What is it like?
It's fucking cold. I'll tell you that for free.
Sure is.
Cold? Like, how do you describe the cold? You've been inland around Tabelheim, yes? Is it cold like our winters?
It's... Of course, you're light on the border to the northern wastes there, so... Of course it's even colder than the winters in the Empire.
She chews a bit, and then she's probably like, the cold doesn't mind me. I actually like it.
Of course, I love the cold.
She probably like grins a little bit as like she's eating as you say that, and she probably like pries a little bit more into well, what was it like growing up? Were you well off, or did you have to work?
In a sense, my parents died when I was young, so I ended up joining a good group of fellas. They were harsh, but, I helped them on their way, and they kept me out of trouble. So, not too bad. After a few years, making a bit of a name for myself in Kislev, that was when I actually met Petrov, and we became business associates, and we've been traveling together ever since.
But can you tell me more about him? What is he like? Do you know part of his past? And what about the others, Chester and I? What do you know about them?
Well, Petrov is a good soul, but can be a hard ass when he wants to be. Always manages to spoil the fun when I'm 6 mugs of ale down. But Vi and Chester, we have had some run-ins with them, obviously, and our paths crossed when we do similar sorts of business. You could say we're competitors of a sort.
Okay. And what are you competing for? I don't really know much about your lines of work. What exactly do you people do? And why did you get into such business?
Well, truth be told, as I said, the group of fellas that I grew up with, they were of the shadier sort, the odd coin purse here, the odd off of the back of a cart there. But we were poor, it was a living, there's not much to say. just is a way to get food on the table, you know?
I don't really know, actually. I never really had to work for my food. I worked hard to train my body, but for food and for housing, I don't know what that's like. I don't know the common struggle of people. I would like to, though. Come, Farron. And I probably, like, start dragging you with me, and we start getting into, like, more, like, the shops of the local part of town. And I just start interacting with, like, bakers and food vendors and things like that. And it's just simple small talk. It doesn't seem like very, like, serious conversations. It's just simple small talk that she does.
Cool. I like it.
There's hope for Farron yet.
Yeah, right? Yeah, this is exactly like Farron's dreams are coming true right now.
I'm just really happy. You completely forgot something.
What?
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
Cool. So yeah, you guys continue on your journeys as you small talk, and you get your lunch, and Farron, you have like a moment of like, do I grab her hand or not, or what? How does this work now? You decide that keeping both of your hands is a better option, I assume.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, because Merla's still armed. Yeah, and then I think you guys just generally have a nice like time out.
Yeah, after like probably like a few hours in, Morella would like look over at Farron. So you don't know where Chester and Vi are?
It is strange. I would have thought they would have gotten back in touch with us. After all, as I said, we still have to deal with some of our earnings. But
Wow.
it would also be nice to start having a plan of action of what we're doing when we leave in town.
Well, I'd like to see them, alright. And if you don't mind, would you help me look for them? They have to be somewhere in this town, right?
Of course, anything for you, milady.
She gives you a smile as you say that. And she's like, good. I'll follow. And she starts going off, and we are now going to play essentially cat and mouse, but we're going to be the blind cat.
Right, yeah. So
fighting the mouse.
So the problem is, Farron, you said yes, anything for you. But then you realized that if there were any two people in the entire world that could evade you, probably those two. Right? But I think that if that is your goal, you can both make me an investigation roll. And I'll see.
Hot damn, that's my grit.
I'll see what you can gather about them. It'll be very hard to find them directly, but I'll see what you can gather at the very least. 16's pretty good.
Not terrible. I'm
gonna use my advantage for this.
Inspiration? Might as well. Yeah, nice. 18.
18.
Why'd you roll a D2?
Because he was deciding
Decide whether I would use it or not.
His advantage, his inspiration. Yeah, cool. So I think that with an 18 and a 16, that's combined a pretty high number.
That's a 34.
I mean,
so maybe you guys went to like the seedier part of town, and you're in like a tavern, asking the general questions. You're taking kind of the lead here, Farron, but Marilla's helping you by just generally being intimidating, right? Because you're not used to having muscle when you do this kind of work, because usually you're with Arkady, who is the talker, and you're kind of like the charmer, right? Usually you play good cop, smart cop. Now you're playing good cop, bad cop, right? So
like scary cop.
It takes a little bit to get used to the dichotomy of those two. But yeah, I think that you turn out that you guys are a pretty damn good team, and I think that you hear something, and you can choose how much you want to share, but you know enough, Farron, about Chester's method of, let's say,
Murder.
removing someone, that I think that you pick up, somebody mentions to you about a man that they found with no face.
Oh,
And
here we go.
you know what that's about, but Morella would not. So my question to you is, how much do you share? Like,
Probably not a lot of this, because I obviously don't want her to start to worry, and
right.
so hey, I think we're getting closer to the trail.
Yeah, okay,
Oh,
so maybe, like, so Morella, you hear about, like, a murder, right? But, like, murders happen often, and, like, the guard's looking into it, etc., etc. But Farron, you 100% know, unless somebody is copycatting Chester, that he totally killed that guy, whoever that guy was. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Cool. And so yeah, so you guys you get that piece of information, and I think that eventually you kind of strike out in a bunch more places. It seems to be only that singular incident, and yeah, I think that then we get the scene of, like, you guys, like, maybe you've grabbed, like, another snack, like, or maybe it's dinner. Maybe you guys grab dinner or whatever. Maybe you actually, like, leave the city to go, like, sit along, like, the shore lot or whatever. It's really nice out. You guys have a nice time. And yeah, so you guys head back eventually. Farron, you're doing if you've ever watched any anime ever, when there's a guy that likes a girl, he kind of walks with, like, his hands behind his head, like, looking up and whistling. In any anime ever, that's how they walk. If they have to walk with a girl that
The
they like.
entirety of this scene is just,
You're
like,
right, exactly.
14-year-old boy not
Yep.
knowing what to do with the girl he likes.
Yep, 100%.
Yep.
Because, like, let's be honest, Farron, you know what to do with women,
Yes, but
not
This
this
is-
one, right?
exactly.
Right, yeah, not this one. This one is different. Yeah, and I think that we have that cool scene of you guys of that happening. You guys enter back into the city. I think throughout the entire journey, Morella, you notice no one doesn't have a whole lot of beggars or homeless. Certainly, Altdorf had more per capita. Everybody appears to be pretty gainfully employed in Nuln, and the general populace, at least the people that you've interacted with and seen, they seem pretty happy with their lot in life. They don't seem, like, progressive or like, they don't seem offensive. Not a whole lot of people are, like, out, like, generally being, like, super nice and flowery with each other, but, like, kind of it's the working class, right? The gruff greetings, the, hey, hope your mom's well, that kind of stuff, but nothing, like, too robust. It gives you a very, like, mechanical feel, like the rest of the city does. It gives you a very, like, 9 to 5, you wake up, you go to work, you eat food, you go to sleep, you wake up, you go to work, you eat food, you go to sleep. Very mechanical in its methodology.
College wasn't a machine society.
Yeah, exactly. But everybody's pretty happy. Hooray, fascism. So, I think that you guys arrive back at the galleon and the knoll. And Hannibal, you've probably had to take a break to eat at some point today. So you're probably down there, and you see Farron and Morella walk in, and maybe they've gotten some sun because they were out all day.
Morella's probably actually, like, she hasn't tanned very well because she naturally like would stay out because she would train long and hard within the day.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
it wouldn't have affected her as much.
So yeah, maybe you see the Kislevites in the group are definitely more susceptible to the sunlight than others.
Yeah. I'd say, looks like somebody had some fun today.
Oh yes, we did. Didn't we?
It has been the best day of my life.
Oh come on! I'm sure it wasn't that good. I mean, it was fun, but I'm not exactly the best company around.
I'm sure that I look at
And I kind of look at you,
Right.
Hannibal, when I say that, and I'm like, don't you know Hannibal?
Yes, I know.
Well, neither are you, but that's here nor there.
So yeah, so
Anyway,
I think
had-
yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Anyway, I didn't have a great day. My hangover didn't get any better.
Aye, speaking of that, you left kind of early for that night. I was wondering where you got to.
I was escorting a friend back home.
Aye, and who would that friend be? Just out of curiosity.
I don't know his name.
Aye, come on, you must know. You were drinking with the dwarfs all night.
I was drinking with a lot of people that night, Farron.
I've already forgotten his name. But... Aye, so you're just escorting him home, was that it?
Yeah, interesting enough. I know he was part of the Thunder Clan because that's where I went.
Rugmere, yes. Thank you.
No problem.
That was an interesting surprise.
Well, how on earth did you get into the Thundler clan then?
It's pretty easy when you have some drunk person there yelling at the guard to let you in.
Alright, if that's what you say, I'll leave it be.
Don't worry about it so much.
Yeah, and I probably like smile, and I kind of like probably place a hand on your shoulder, Fair, and I'm like, Hannibal is a good judge of person, at least to me. So I'm sure he didn't do anything, well, not respectable.
I would never do such a thing. I have my standards after all.
Exactly.
If
Come,
that's
let's
what
go eat now.
Mirella says, then that's what Mirella says.
I shoot a glance at Fair when I say respectable standards.
Oh, do you want to say something to me, laddie?
No, then I'm not trying to say anything.
I'll
Well,
have you
anyways.
know I've performed at the highest of establishments.
Those establishments also involve gambling?
Aye, come on, you can't bust my balls over something that the notorious duo with the masterminds of.
I suppose I can. Anyways, I'm going to head out back to the room for a little bit more. Or should I?
Cool. So you head back up there, and then I think, as if on cue, I think that Arkady walks in, and he's like basically dragging a sack behind him of stuff, and he's got like a scroll that's got like it's clearly like a list, and he's kind of like reading off to himself, and he enters in, and he looks at you, and he goes, "Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Listen, first of all, try this on," and he tosses like something out of the sack at you, Marilla, and it's clearly like it's not like a gown.
Girly dress.
Yeah, but it's like a proper woman's dress, like an everyday kind of formal wear.
She frowns as soon as she,
Right, yeah.
you know,
He goes-
puts it in front of her.
He goes, "I did not know your size. That should fit you, though." And then he goes, Also, you, Farron, you are ready to entertain for a bunch of women, yes?
I, Pedslov, what are you saying in front of Mirella? God,
Do not worry, she will be there too. But you will need to be as charming as possible. We need these women to enjoy their time.
What do you mean,
fantasies just
Petrov?
running through Farron's head.
Right, yeah. Morella, and then Morella plus others. Yeah, I got it. We're tracking.
Yep.
He says, "Oh, you will be attending essentially gathering of most powerful women in city. Tomorrow evening, in fact. I've arranged it all. It does not... Listen, it does not require any public appearances. It does not require any super involved things. You go for a couple hours, you make appearance, you shake some hands. Everybody likes you already. Maybe you share some stories. Maybe they share some stories. Farron will be there to keep an eye on you and to save you from any danger you'll be in. And then everything will be fine."
Don't you mean I will save him from any danger?
Right,
Since I
but
do know a
Farron
lot.
at least can spot danger while you are surrounded by women attempting to shake your hand. Yes?
Perhaps. Why exactly are we having this gathering? Am I not speaking with the leaders of the city?
Well, he kind of like looks around and there's still like no one kind of in here. He's like, "Well, as you know, Count not here right now. So, gathering being held by Lady Appleton, his wife.
Oh. Well, I suppose that's alright then. I guess.
Technically most powerful person in city currently. It's the best I could do, but as I said, it will be gathering of most powerful women, wives of lords, that kind of thing." And he kind of like, he frowns and he says, oh crap, what was that guy's name? Lord Claridge did assure me that the women hold most of the power in this city. How true that is, we shall see.
Oh, alright then. I suppose that's alright.
Good, great. I'm glad that everything is going okay. Again, try it on. We will be able to do something. This is tomorrow evening, by the way, for dinner.
Have you seen Vi or Chester at all?
No, have not seen Vi or Chester. That was going to be planned after setting all of this up. As I understand, they are missing, yes?
Aye, please don't worry, Mirella. They shall turn up eventually. You've got nothing to worry about.
Well, I was just thinking, now that with Petrov's recent news and recent events that I'm going to be attending, perhaps Vi would like to attend with me.
So I assume that at this point, Arkady and Farron both
Yes.
look at each other and like your eyebrows both disappear into your foreheads, and Arkady probably goes, "Well, I will let you broach subject with her. I will see if I can find them first."
I would like to ask her.
Good, that is good plan. Yes, you
A
ask.
familiar face within a group of strangers would call.
Yes, that is why Farron going too. But yes, perhaps Vi will accompany you. But I leave that in your hands.
She kind of probably puts the dress in one arm, over her forearm, and she's like, "Well, I'll see whether or not this fits." And she looks at you, Farron. "I had a good day today. Thank you for accompanying me."
It was my pleasure, my lady.
She gives you a small smile.
And then do you
And
head
then
up
kind
to
of
like try it on? Yeah.
yeah, and she's like, "Well, excuse me now." And then she starts heading up, and then goes to put on the dress. Whether or not it fits her is up to you, Mr. DM.
Yeah, no, it does. It's just simply a lore point, or simply like a talking point to be like, yeah, let's try if it fits you. Yeah, totally gonna fit you.
As soon as
Yeah,
Mirella
so
walks
exactly.
outside,
Arkady raises an eyebrow and he goes, "Did you? You did not do the thing, yes? No, just simply traveling with, yeah?"
well, it turns out I actually managed to do both, you know. I've managed to gather some understanding of where our friend Hannibal was.
Oh? Well,
He was at the Thunderclan Hall last night.
that is interesting news. Makes
Aye.
sense based on what we know so far. Do you know what he did while he was there?
Well, he says that he was helping his newfound friends back to his bed chambers after they drank a bit too much, but you know, I never don't quite trust a man that I can't see his eyes properly.
Yes, I know what you mean. Mask is problem. But we should not jump to too many conclusions. We are all working for same goal. Perhaps he just likes to keep plans to himself. But maybe we should create a way where we keep all plans in the open. It would also help us if we had some sort of rule. It would also help us with the other two.
Aye, but less of Hannibal and more concerned about Vi and Chester. I have reason to believe they're up to something of more shadowy path, and I'm not just talking about the odd hustle here.
What do you mean?
There's signs that they've tread a more bloodier path whilst we've been here.
He kind of like he gets what you're saying, and he says, "Okay, how did you come? What the information do you have?"
You know, back in Altdorf, they would occasionally hear this rumor about a suspicious dead body that had gone without a face.
He nods.
Well, I think you and I both know that has some suspicion that leads to Chester himself, and such a same body has been found here.
I think Arkady nods and he says, "Well, looks like we will not be getting much sleep tonight." And I think that we cut, over to Chester in an alleyway, cutting a man's face off with his flaying knife, and Vi kind of standing at the end of the alleyway, kind of like leaning up against a wall. And I think that we can see that there's like a little bit of blood running down from like Vi's like torso area, and she's like holding her hand on it as she's leaning up against the wall.
Oh shit!
Yeah, and I think that's where we cut and end the episode.
Can't I make an intelligence check to see how much I've learned from the gunpowder?
I think I will give that to you at the beginning of next session. You don't need an intelligence check.
Yeah.
I was having such a good scene in mind that I could do, but I could say that definitely for the beginning of next session.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
it will continue. Hopefully by next session we'll be streaming live. But yeah. Anyway, thanks for coming.
Everyone being here.
You guys are still 6th level, yeah?
No more of that.
Well, like,
so
400 experience away from fucking 7.
I think everybody will definitely be 7, except for the people who missed today. Oh no.
The nerds
actually,
that weren't here today.
You know what? Like, we had so many problems today. I think I might just give everybody experience instead of hold it from those people. Because
Hey, you guys wanted.
it was kind of my fault that we missed last week, and everybody would have been here. So
You guys want to see some of my what my emotes were that I was planning on using?
yeah, or you can save it for next week because I have a feeling that we may get into some stuff next week.
Ha!
I always forget. There's so few CR6 monsters in the entire book.
All
This
right.
is my favorite. It's for my lightning bolt. It's for my witch bolt. Destroys everything.
Oh my god, you're fucking savage.
How do you like it, Jordan?
His
Pretty bad. The only way it could have been worse if it was actually my motherboard.
You're fucking savage, dude.
That's pretty good, though. It's pretty good. All right, experience.
This is what my life has made me.
You do realize that he's still in control. He still has puck.
It's true. Yeah.
Don't hurt. You know, my first thought wasn't "don't hurt Puck." It was "don't hurt me with Puck."
Yeah. See, there's where you should be thinking.
Don't hurt me with puck.
That's. I did love the whole roses are black, rots are black, everything is black. I can't see.
Yep. It's pretty good.
So,
Sleep.
So, Farron,
God.
how did you enjoy the session?
It was. As soon as you would have stepped through the doorway out of sight, Farron
Stalker
would
mode
have
would have
done that. Happy, like jumping for joy, all around the room, sort of thing.
Hold person.
Oh, by the way, I don't think I mentioned it a few weeks ago, but I saw The Road to El Dorado. Loved it,
Oh, yeah.
of course. So, I totally get now Miguel and fuck, what's his other name? I can't think of it.
Oh, you mean that gif where he's going? Da, 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 da.
Yes.
By the way, do you like my hold person emote?
Jesus, that's terrible.
Everybody gets 767 experience.
7, 6, 7.
Yep, that should make everyone level 7, yeah?
It does. 2,
Good.
3, 4, 4, 9.
Cool. So, as always, when we reach a level, and I'll make sure everybody else is aware of this too, that's not here currently, beginning of next session, we'll go over what you all got for level 7. Congratulations, everyone. You made it. You survived. And yeah, with that, I'm going to meet you guys real quick and end the broadcast thingy.
Man.
Hello. Thank you guys for watching today. I hope you enjoyed it. Next session, if you're watching this on YouTube, will be on the 22nd of July. It'll be on the 22nd of July. And we will be continuing on with the book club, and we'll find out what happened to Vi and Chester. Some good stuff going on there. Other than that, I think that that's it. Thanks for coming to Siege. I'm pretty tired. Sorry. If you're interested, also will be up in the next couple of days. Will be Olympus. That's the sci-fi Stars Without Number group. If you guys are interested in that, which you should be because it's awesome. We play that on Sundays at 5 p.m. Eastern. If you want to check out more Siege, either wait for it to change or go ahead and follow me on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, subscribe, and you guys will know when I go live. We play that on Fridays, every Friday, 6 p.m., unless another lightning strike hits my motherboard. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Without further ado, all of you have a wonderful night. Enjoy, stay safe, and don't die in the dungeons.